ask for forgiveness so that we can forgive ourselves. And also we can liberate ourselves from the guilt, perhaps of doing something that we regret. We might have to ask forgiveness to ourselves or others. On the spot we might automatically say, I'm sorry, and do amends. Sometimes we can have the good habit and the intention of changing. And sometimes our intention to ask forgiveness is covered up with the desire to protect ourselves. So we do not wish to ask forgiveness because we feel righteous. We feel the right because it's the only way we know to protect ourselves, so that we don't feel the hurt and the disappointment and the sadness associated with it. Why don't I say, please forgive me? Perhaps we might fear that the other person would tell us with a hostile tone and voice, I will never forgive you. And we might struggle to deal with the unfairness of it, because we see ourselves as humans, and like all humans, we can get things wrong. And often we do things not necessarily intentional, but as a result of the environment, the circumstance that we are in, the way that we know. If we knew better, we would do better. But in each given moment we are doing the best we know in each given moment, with the experiences we have, the knowledge we have, the ways of viewing the world. And it's not a fault of our own. So, what do we want to ask forgiveness? Could start with someone a little bit more remote or close, and say, please forgive me. And we can start with light examples such as, please forgive me for not honoring my commitments, what I said I would do. And sometimes we might find that if you have a change of heart, it's because there was new information, new ways of looking at it, new reasons why we're not able to stick. And instead of beating ourselves up, let's acknowledge that we might say one thing, but then life occurs, things happen, different priorities. And we can forgive ourselves on the other. I forgive myself for not sticking to my commitment. But I chose in line with the needs and the new available information and what was possible at the time. So I forgive myself. And asking, I know we're not seeing the other person in this moment, but we can ask in our thoughts. We can say in our thoughts, please forgive me that I did not honor what I promised I would say and do or get. there's a little sadness that goes with it, because we want to be seen by others as reliable, that we stick with our word, that we stick with the promise we make. That we admire the people that say and do what they say they will do. But then we're forgetting that sometimes things do happen. New knowledge, new information, new priorities, new needs. So there's a little sadness and disappointment in others and us, and we feel bad for hurting someone else's feelings. Perhaps we broke their promise, and as a result they feel disappointed, or they felt disappointed and sad, or even angry, or hurt. So please forgive me. And sometimes we are unable to be the people that we care in the way they want, prefer, in terms of time, activities. And then they feel resentful or disappointed or hurt or sad or angry. But for some reason we are unable or choosing not to. And we feel disappointed in ourselves for not being more flexible. Feel hurt and sad. And also we cause some resentment and hurt and sad on the other person. And there are reasons why we are behaving and choosing different ways. Often is to prioritize our needs and wants and preferences. And even sometimes selfish ways, or being unable to see the bigger picture, or what truly is important. We are perceiving something far more important, or we have too much struggle of our own, so we quite cope, or we struggle. We've got too much struggle of our own, so we can't cope with someone else's struggle, or additional struggles. Or perhaps we are in a physical, mental, or emotional state where we are not managing ourselves very well. Or perhaps we have difficulties in adapting to change, or being with our own thoughts. There's a multitude of reasons. Or because we are uncomfortable with certain circumstances. So we disappoint and hurt others, and we feel hurt as well for not being the kind of person we want to be, the kind of parent, spouse, friend, citizen that we want to be, or wish to be, or prefer to be. So let's bring that person to mind and say, please forgive me. Please forgive me for not being the person or being there when you want me to be. It's not my intention to cause you harm and suffering and struggle and inconvenience and stress and disappointment and sadness. Just have different values and priorities and interests. I do care for you, or I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you for your forgiveness. Thank you for accepting my apology. And then there are other people that we might say certain things and have certain conflicts, or behave in a certain ways that may be polar opposite of someone else's preferences and needs and wants. And it can grow into misunderstandings and conflict. So you can go in our mind. We could say it in person, but if you're not able to, for different reasons, we can say in person. We can say in our thoughts, I am sorry that my ways or my behaviors or wants and preferences are getting on the way of your wants and preferences and is having a negative impact on you, on your life. It's not my intention. Please forgive me. I respect you. And I wish you the best. And we can only hope that they would accept our forgiveness and apology. And there are certain things that we might say or do a result of conflict, because in the moment we are too stressed and the circumstances that we are in is eliciting the worst in us, the worst in the other person, the worst in the circumstances, and our triggers are being triggered and defense mechanisms are up, and we might end up saying or doing things that we regret because it has a profound impact on the physical, mental or well-being of the other person. And then we deeply regret. We regret the out of control, the losing control, the harm that we cause, the impact, and we beat ourselves up for not being able to manage our thoughts, our behavior in a better way, in our preferred way, in a more socially acceptable and healthy way. Let's forgive ourselves. Please forgive me that I could not do better, and ask the other person forgiveness. Please forgive me that I hurt you. It was not my intention. I know that I've caused you suffering, and that was not my intention. I love you and I care for you. And I'll do my absolute best to manage my stuff, to manage myself, to remove myself from the situation when I start noticing that I'm getting out of control, so that I don't do or say things that I'll later regret, later regret. Please forgive me. Thank you for your forgiveness. And we also have those people that we have very close contact with, such as parents or siblings, spouses, or kids. Because of the proximity, we're more likely to engage at times in behaviors because of the conflict and triggers. We're more likely to engage in things that we regret, that cause harm and suffering. Or because someone else has done for us, we might engage in behaviors of not paying attention, withdrawing our love, not considering, not being considerate, as a way of punishing. as a way of protesting, as a way of showing I don't care for you because I'm hurt by your actions. Because you hurt me, then I don't care for you. Might be an immature way of dealing with the situation. Hurt people. But we can learn to soothe our hurt. To use compassion and love to heal. And then rise above our hurt, or walk alongside our hurt. And choose different options that are more in line with the person we want to be, the values we want to live, the life we want to live. Even though we might be hurting, still choosing the behaviors we want to live and experience. And if the other person comes on board and we are a role model, then good. And if they don't, at least we walk away knowing that we've done the best we could. We might not engage in the behavior because someone else deserves, but because that's the person we want to be. Everyone deserves respect because they are human beings. But sometimes if they behave in a way that hurts us, we might say, you don't deserve. It's because we are trying to punish them in some way because of the hurt. But instead of punishing, how about just sending them more love? Still protecting ourselves and finding our boundaries and being assertive and finding ways that we are safe physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally. But still wish them the best, wish them healing, love, compassion, light. So with this person in mind that is close to our heart, or close in proximity in our dealings of every day, please forgive me that I have hurt you. I care for you. I'm grateful for you. I'm thankful for you. It's not my intention to hurt you and harm you. And I'll do my best to always try to come into alignment, to always try to come into light, to look for my vulnerabilities and being aware of them and working on them and stopping before they get hold of me, so that I'm in the better control, so that I'll do my best to look after myself so I can be in a better position to get the best possible solution out of me. I choose to be responsible for my actions, for the way I look at things, for the way that I feel about things. Please forgive me. I care for you. I care for your well-being. Thank you for your forgiveness. We can add a little love. Love and best wishes. Sometimes we're so hurt that it's difficult to say I love you. Sometimes we have so much hurt and it's difficult to say I love you to someone that hurt us so much. But we can still use I respect you as a human being. I am grateful for all the good positive things that you brought into my life and positive contributions that you made and are still making to my life. I am thankful for the ways in which my life is better because of you, directly and indirectly. In this moment, I cannot connect with love or saying I love you, if that's the case. But I wish you love and I wish me love. And hopefully in time, the part of me that is hurting will heal and will be replaced with more love. Please forgive me that I'm not there yet. And forgiving ourselves, because sometimes we have this pressure, or even society, that if you are with someone, you must love them. Otherwise you are a horrible person for not loving them or being in love with them. But we can still be civil. We can still function with respect and gratitude and thankfulness. And love, but not necessarily being in love. And also we have people in our lives that we truly love. They've been there in so many ways, always positive ways, or most of it in positive ways. And we find ourselves short or failing to be there for them in a way that we think they would prefer, because we struggle to get out of our comfort zone, because getting out of comfort zone might mean, or being there for them might mean experiencing some discomfort of some negative consequences. So we avoid. Then we feel hurt and guilty and a bit sad. So for those people that we love and care for, let's ask for forgiveness. Please forgive me that I can't be there for you when you want, need, prefer, and as often as you wish, and that I disappoint you when I make different choices and you feel sad because of my actions. Please forgive me. I truly love you and care for you and will always have you in my heart. And I'm sorry that I can't be there at all times. Please forgive me. Thank you. And then forgiving ourselves. I forgive myself for not being the perfect, whatever role that is. And I'm going to see if I can find ways of being there in ways that is manageable. Baby steps until I can take a bigger step. And we also have those people even in your life that we're supposed to love, but of course have caused us so much disappointment and hurt and suffering that we struggle to love back. And because of that, we don't show up as much. We keep our distance, keep to the minimum. And we feel a little sad and disappointed in ourselves, but also justified. But we know their lives are perhaps not as good and bright. But we struggle to forgive, or maybe we have forgiven because we have allocated. It's because of X, Y, and Z that the person mistreated me. And then we feel that we detached the person from the monstrosities of things. So we can ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry that I'm not as perfect as you wish me to be. I'm sorry that I'm not as bright as you wish me to be. I'm sorry that I don't do the things you want me to be and do. I'm sorry that I'm not perfect. I'm sorry that I don't say the things you want me to say, do the things you want me to hear. I'm sorry that I am not the person you want me to be. Say the things you want me to say. Do the things you want me to do. Sorry that I'm just not what you wished for or want at all. And I'm sorry that my ways of being just cause you worry and suffering and distress and disappointment and conflict. Please forgive me. It's not my intention. I'm just being me and living my life according to my needs. I am sorry that my needs conflict with yours. Please forgive me. I wish you the best. I truly wish you wealth, health, love, happiness. And I am thankful for the positive contributions you've made to my life. And I forgive myself for not being the perfect. Whatever that may be. So, who else do you want to forgive? Ourselves or someone else? So in our list of forgiveness, we can also include people that we have any dealings that are still stuck. We're still with resentment and we do not want to go, let it go. So let's pick another one. Please forgive me that I might have contributed towards a problem or the problem that you had to manage. And I also forgive you towards in the ways that you've managed, which was not supportive of me. It's almost like I only forgive you if you forgive me. Or if you acknowledge your contributions to the problem. But right now, we're just asking forgiveness for our contribution in any given problem, in any given situation. That is not one contributor and everyone else is free from guilt. That is likely that everyone involved, including the circumstances, have some sort of contribution, big or small. There's a possibility. There's a possibility that we will contribute in some way. Sometimes we contribute by not having the knowledge, not having the skill. Sometimes we contribute by simply being vulnerable in the hands of someone else's, or victim of the circumstances, or because of our defense mechanisms, or a challenging situation might get the worst out of ourselves. So, this is an exercise to ask for forgiveness. something that we have done that we regret, that has caused hurt or suffering to the other person. And now we wish to let that off our chest, our heart, our mind, so that we can feel freer, lighter, better. In essence, is for us that when we are lighter, freer, then we can approach this person or new people with a more mature and healthy ways. We can remember the lessons so that we can look out and find ways of being assertive and protecting ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, sexually. We can learn to be assertive, but also we're not carrying the baggage with us of hurts that keep on stopping us and keep us behaving in defensive ways. Now we use the knowledge to do different, to be assertive, to start anew. So, who else do we want to forgive? Who would you like to forgive? Ask now. Ask forgiveness now. If you need more time to process your thoughts and expression, please pause the video. Let's forgive ourselves one more time. I forgive myself for the times not doing the things I want to do, being the person I want to be. Or for saying or doing things that I shouldn't do or say. I choose to forgive myself because I am a human being, a wife, a mother, a daughter, colleague, a friend, that at times gets it right and at times gets it wrong, and at times has temporarily lost imbalance or loss of control. I care for me. I love myself. Notice the breath. Notice it rising and falling. I forgive myself. I care and love myself, even when I don't get things right or do the things I should do, or am the person I prefer to be or should be. I still choose to love myself. Notice the breath rising and falling. Then envision giving yourself a hug full of love and compassion. And then for those people you feel comfortable and safe, give them a hug and compassion, a big loving hug. And if you need to shed a tear while you're hugging to release the further hurt, just let the tears fall from your eyes and down your cheeks. Let the tears wash the pain. Wash your eyes away so you can see clearer. And then for those people that you prefer to keep a distance, you can simply say, I wish you well. And if you are comfortable, you can shake hands with all the best. May you go through your journey in peace, free from suffering. May you find the compassion and the love that you need. I choose to release you and wish you well. I choose to forgive you. And I choose to forgive myself. I wish you well. I wish me well. May you find the peace that you need. May you find the love you never had. May you be free from the suffering that torments you. May you be free from the guilt. That draws you into unhealthy coping mechanisms that cause more problem. May you feel safe. May you be safe from harm. See the good in yourself and others. May you see the good in yourself and others. May May you be at peace with the differences. May you feel safe and trust that you'll be okay. I know you're hurting and suffering, and I am sorry. Please forgive me for my contributions. And please forgive yourself for anything you may do or have done. You are free to go now. Your memory belongs in the past. Your words belong in the past. Your actions belong in the past. I forgive you. And please forgive me. You are free to go. I'm sorry that we never did and never will, or perhaps never will, have the relationship that we wished or prefer. But we'll have what we can have, and what we can have is good enough. Please forgive me for not living to the perfect standards. You are free to go. You are free. I am free. I am free. I am safe. I am safe. Okay. Can you hear the machine? Okay, if there's anybody else that you may need to forgive, or yourself, or any behaviour, or you're not sure who needs forgiving, just forgive. If you're holding a hurt and a resentment, as a result you behave in a way that you're not proud, or you don't feel good, or you would have preferred not to, then give yourself permission to forgive yourself, to forgive the other person, to forgive your contributions. And then take the lessons. In what way can you do differently in the future? And there were circumstances in our lives where we were more vulnerable, or we are more vulnerable. And we can learn to look after ourselves. Also, we can be different as an adult than we were when we were growing up, when we were a child. So in what ways can you show up different, behave different, so they don't have regrets? And look for what is reasonable. To expect to have the perfect behavior from now on to the rest of your life, that's unrealistic. At times we will mess up. But let's take those times when we mess up to learn the lessons, to learn what contributed, what was our faults, what was our weakness and vulnerabilities, so that we can learn to do differently. So those lessons can illuminate our present and future, so that we can perhaps speak say, I am getting frustrated and angry, and I'm going to choose to remove myself from this situation before I say or do something that I will regret. Or I'm struggling to manage myself. I'm going to withdraw from this because I don't want to say or do something that I regret. Or I'm struggling with this. Could you help me? Or can we please drop this? Because I don't want to, I'm getting triggered and I don't want to lose control and saying or doing things that I later regret. Or I'm not fit for conception. Or I do not wish to engage in this conversation because I might end up doing or saying something that I will later regret. Or let's speak when we both feel better so we can engage in solutions. Or are we going to go down the road of creating more problems or making this big problem bigger? Or are we going to pause, take a breather, and go down the road of solutions? Or I can see that I heard your point of view, I've expressed my point of view. Right now we're going down in circles. Let's give some space to think about it and then come back and address it when we both feel calmer, or perhaps can think of different solutions. Or I can see that you're not feeling well. I can see that you're struggling to manage yourself. Or I don't feel safe in your presence right now, so I'm going to remove myself into safety. I can see that you're struggling right now, but I don't feel safe in your presence, so I'm going to remove myself into safety until I feel safe. In what ways can we learn the lessons? Sometimes we are in situations that we have the ability to remove ourselves from the situation so that the worst doesn't get out of the other person and out of ourselves, so that we end up regretting. Can we remove ourselves from the situation? Can we have the awareness that we are getting more fidgety, more angry? Can we go into a strategy to help us calm down? Calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Can we go into our breathing? Breathe in, breathe out. Can we repeat our mantras to stay calm so we don't say or do something we can regret? Take it easy, take it easy. Calm down, calm down. Stay calm. Or my health, my mood, my energy is more important than this. So that we don't automatically react with anger and say or do something we can regret, that we might regret. So you don't have to live with guilt. Or even saying, my mood is very low right now. I do not wish to engage in this, or this is going nowhere healthy, balanced or productive. I'm withdrawing myself. Or if it's too much momentum, and we can't control the other person, we can't escape, just go into closing the ears, taking a slow deep breath, and breathing out. Humming or saying, calm down, calm down. I can stay calm, I can stay calm. If we stay calm, then we can have access to our rational mind. And if you have access to a rational mind, we can think of solutions that are more healthy and balanced and productive. If we go into automatic fight, flight, freeze mode, then we are more vulnerable to the circumstances, to other people, to ourselves, to react in ways that perhaps causes more problems, because our brain thinks we don't feel safe. So we need to attack back. So then we need to say something that only adds wood to the fire, and then you end up regretting. So when you ask for forgiveness, in what ways can you behave differently and show up differently and contribute differently in the future? Can you remove yourself from the situation when you notice someone engaging in certain behaviors and you know that you don't feel safe? Instead of being physically trapped, can you find a way where you can remove yourself with ease? Notice where the exits are, find safety, call a doctor, call the police, call the emergency services. Go to a public space. Because in a public space, there's more people that can help. And also, many of us have this need to be accepted by society, not be judged and criticized. So I'm more likely to engage in pro-social behaviors in a public situation, in a public space. Sometimes if you have too much momentum, perhaps not. But in a private, away from eyes is worst. So in what ways can you increase your safety physically, mentally, emotionally, environmentally, relationally, so that you can do better, show up better, and have less regrets, and less to apologize and ask for forgiveness. And if you do, when you mess up, just apologize, ask for forgiveness, and then show or demonstrate with time what you've done differently, what you are doing differently, what you no longer are doing, so that bit by bit you can show that the person can start to trust you again. Because we all can fail, but when we show that we are learning, we learn our lessons, that we are making different choices, that we are improving, it's something that works in our favor. Works in our favor to feel better, but also in the eyes of others. That yes, we messed up, but also we've learned and we are doing differently. So they can trust us more, so that the relationship can re-establish, and when it's not possible, let's just wish well to others and to ourselves. Take the lessons, and then leave the rest in the past, because it's where it belongs. And the hurt, let's soothe it each time it comes up, but only keep the lessons. What can we do differently? What positive steps can we take it and do differently in the future, in the now and in the future? If you are struggling to forgive yourself for something you've done or said, and you consider it to be a big major thing, speak with a health professional, because they can help you see things from a different angle and support you in a way that is healthy, so that you can live again, so that you can breathe again, so that you can be you again. A qualified health professional will be able to be a specialist in many areas, all the specific area that you're struggling, so that you can be fully supported, heal and recover. So don't lose hope. You can do this and you'll be okay. Bye for now. By the way, I'm not qualified in any way. Only got experience. my experience is limited to the experiences of the lives of many others. So take what's useful and leave the rest. I've been